Public Domain. The American Claimant by Mark Twain, Chapter 16. Brady arrived with a box, and departed after saying, "They're finishing one up, but they'll be along as soon as it's done." Barrow took a frameless oil portrait a foot square from the box, set it up in a good light without comment, and reached for another, taking a fugitive glance at Tracy meantime. The stony solemnity in Tracy's face remained as it was, and gave out no sign of interest. Barrow placed the second portrait beside the first, and stole another glance while reaching for a third. The stone image softened a shade. Number 3 forced the ghost of a smile, Number 4 swept indifference wholly away, and Number 5 started a laugh which was still in good and hearty condition when Number 14 took its place in the row. "Oh, you're all right yet," said Barrow. "You see, you're not past amusement." The pictures were fearful as to color, and atrocious as to drawing and expression, but the feature which squelched animosity and made them funny was a feature which could not achieve its full force in a single picture, but required the wonder-working assistance of repetition. One loudly dressed mechanic in stately attitude, with his hand on a cannon, ashore, and a ship riding at anchor in the offing, this is merely odd. But when one sees the same cannon and the same ship in 14 pictures in a row, and a different mechanic standing watch in each, the thing gets to be funny. Explain these aberrations," said Tracy. "Well, they are not the achievement of a single intellect, a single talent. It takes two to do these miracles. They are collaborations. The one artist does the figure, the other the accessories. The figure artist is a German shoemaker with an untaught passion for art. The other is a simple-hearted old Yankee sailorman whose possibilities are strictly limited to his ship, his cannon, and his patch of petrified sea. They work these things up from 25-cent tintypes. They get $6 apiece for them, and they can grind out a couple a day when they strike what they call a boost, that is, an inspiration." "People actually pay money for these calumnies?" "They actually do, and quite willingly, too. And these abortionists could double their trade and work the women in, if Captain Saltmarsh could whirl a horse in, or a piano, or a guitar, in place of his cannon. The fact is, he fatigues the market with that cannon, even the male market, I mean. These 14 in the procession are not all satisfied. One is an old independent fireman, and he wants an engine in place of the cannon. Another is a mate of a tug, and wants a tug in place of the ship, and so on and so on. But the captain can't make a tug that is deceptive, and a fire engine is many flights beyond his power." "This is a most extraordinary form of robbery. I never have heard of anything like it. It's interesting." "Yes, and so are the artists. They are perfectly honest men and sincere, and the old sailor-man is full of sound religion, and is as devoted a student of the Bible, and misquoter of it, as you can find anywhere. I don't know a better man or kinder-hearted old soul than Saltmarsh, although he does swear a little sometimes." "He seems to be perfect. I want to know him, Barrow." "You'll have the chance. I guess I hear them coming now. We'll draw them out on their art, if you like." The artists arrived and shook hands with great heartiness. The German was 40 and a little fleshy, with a shiny bald head and a kindly face and deferential manner. Captain Saltmarsh was 60, tall, erect, powerfully built, with coal-black hair and whiskers, and he had a well-tanned complexion, and a gait and countenance that were full of command, confidence, and decision. His horny hands and wrists were covered with tattoo marks, and when his lips parted his teeth showed up white and blemishless. His voice was the effortless deep bass of a church organ, and would disturb the tranquillity of a gas flame 50 yards away. "They're wonderful pictures," said Barrow. "We've been examining them. It is very pleasant that you like them, said Handel, the German, greatly pleased. And you, Herr Tracy, you have been pleased with them too, already? I can honestly say I have never seen anything just like them before. Schön, cried the German delightedly. You hear, Captain? Here is a gentleman, yes, for to abbreviate unser art. The captain was charmed, and said, Well, sir, we're thankful for a compliment yet, though they're not as scarce now as they used to be before we made a reputation. Getting the reputation is the uphill time in most things, Captain. It's so. It ain't enough to know how to reef a gasket. You got to make the mate know you know it. That's reputation. The good word said at the right time. That's the word that makes us. And evil be to him that evil thinks, as Isaiah says. It's very relevant, and hits the point exactly, said Tracy. Where did you study art, Captain? I haven't studied. It's a natural gift. He is born mit those cannon in him. He don't have to do nothing. His genius do all the work. If he is asleep, and take a pencil in his hand, out come a cannon. By gracious, if he could do a clavier, if he could do a guitar, if he could do a washtub, it is a fortune. Heilige Johannes, it is just a fortune. Well, it is an immense pity that the business is hindered and limited in this unfortunate way. The captain grew a trifle excited himself now. You said it, Mr. Tracy. Hindered? Well, I should say so. Why, look here. This fellow here, number 11, he's a hackman, a flourishing hackman, I may say. He wants his hack in this picture, wants it where the cannon is. I got around that difficulty by telling him the cannon's our trademark, so to speak, proves that the picture's our work, and I was afraid if we left it out people wouldn't know for certain if it was a Saltmarsh Handel. Now, you wouldn't yourself. What, Captain? You wrong yourself, indeed you do. Anyone who has once seen a genuine Saltmarsh Handel is safe from imposture forever. Strip it, flay it, skin it out of every detail but the bare color and expression, and that man will still recognize it, still stop to worship. Oh, how it makes me feel to hear those expressions! Still say to himself again, as he had said 100 times before, the art of the Saltmarsh Handel is an art apart. There is nothing in the heavens above or in the earth beneath that resembles it. By Jiminy, nur hören Sie einmal! In my life I never heard so precious words. So I talked him out of the hack, Mr. Tracy, and he let up on that, and said, put in a hearse, then, because he's chief mate of a hearse, but don't own it. Stands a watch for wages, you know. But I can't do a hearse any more than I can a hack. So here we are, becalmed, you see. And it's the same with women and such. They come and they want a little genre picture. It's the accessories that make it a genre? Yes, cannon, or cat, or any little thing like that you heave in to whoop up the effect. We could do a prodigious trade with the women if we could foreground the things they like, but they don't give a damn for artillery. Mine's the lack, continued the captain with a sigh. Andy's end of the business is all right, I tell you. He's an artist from way back. Just hear that old man. He always talk 'bout me like that, purred the pleased German. Look at his work yourself. 14 portraits in a row, and no 2 of them alike. Now that you speak of it, it is true. I hadn't noticed it before. It is very remarkable. Unique, I suppose. I should say so. That's the very thing about Andy. He discriminates. Discrimination's the thief of time, 49th Psalm. But that ain't any matter. It's the honest thing, and it pays in the end. Yes, he certainly is great in that feature. One is obliged to admit it. But, now mind, I'm not really criticizing. Don't you think he is just a trifle over-strong in technique? The captain's face was knocked expressionless by this remark. It remained quite vacant while he muttered to himself, technique, polytechnique, pyrotechnique, that's it, likely, fireworks, too much color. Then he spoke up with serenity and confidence, and said, Well, yes, he does pile it on pretty loud, but they all like it, you know. Fact is, it's the life of the business. Take that number 9 there, Evans the butcher. He drops into the studio as sober-colored as anything you ever see. Now look at him. You can't tell him from scarlet fever. Well, it pleases that butcher to death. I'm making a study of a sausage wreath to hang on the cannon, and I don't really reckon I can do it right. But if I can, we can break the butcher. Unquestionably your confederate, I mean your fellow craftsman, is a great colorist. Oh, danke schön! In fact, a quite extraordinary colorist. A colorist, I make bold to say, without imitator here or abroad, and with a most bold and effective touch, a touch like a battering ram, and a manner so peculiar and romantic and extraneous and ad libitum and heart-searching that he is an impressionist, I presume? No, said the captain simply. He is a Presbyterian. It accounts for it all. All. There's something divine about his art. Soulful, unsatisfactory, yearning, dim, hearkening on the void horizon, vague, murmuring to the spirit out of ultramarine distances and far-sounding cataclysms of uncreated space. Oh, if he has he ever tried distemper? The captain answered up with energy. Not if he knows himself. But his dog has, and— Oh, no, it was not my dog. Why, you said it was your dog. Oh, no, Captain. It was a white dog, wasn't it? With his tail docked and one ear gone, and— Dot's him. Der fairy dog. Why, by George, that dog he would eat baint used the same, like— Well, never mind that now. Vast heaving. I never saw such a man. You start him on that dog, and he'll dispute a year. Blame it if I haven't seen him keep it up a level 2 hours and a half. Why, Captain, said Barrow, I guess that must be hearsay. No, sir, no hearsay about it. He disputed with me. I don't see how you stood it. Oh, you've got to, if you run with Andy. But it's the only fault he's got. Ain't you afraid of acquiring it? Oh, no, said the captain tranquilly. No danger of that, I reckon. The artists presently took their leave. Then Barrow put his hands on Tracy's shoulders and said, Look me in the eye, my boy. Steady, steady. There. It's just as I thought. Hoped, anyway. You're all right, thank goodness. Nothing the matter with your mind. But don't do that again, even for fun. It isn't wise. They wouldn't have believed you if you'd been an earl's son. Why, they couldn't. Don't you know that? Whatever possessed you to take such a freak? But never mind about that. Let's not talk of it. It was a mistake. You see that yourself. Yes, it was a mistake. Well, just drop it out of your mind. It's no harm. We all make them. Pull your courage together, and don't brood, and don't give up. I'm at your back, and we'll pull through. Don't you be afraid. When he was gone, Barrow walked the floor a good while, uneasy in his mind. He said to himself, I'm troubled about him. He never would have made a break like that if he hadn't been a little off his balance. But I know what being out of work and no prospect ahead can do for a man. First, it knocks the pluck out of him and drags his pride in the dirt. Worry does the rest, and his mind gets shaky. I must talk to these people. No, if there's any humanity in them, and there is at bottom, they'll be easier on him if they think his troubles have disturbed his reason. But I've got to find him some work. Work's the only medicine for his disease. Poor devil, away off here and not a friend. End of chapter 16.